Meta wants your photos, Microsoft plays doctor, and the blue screen of death fades to black. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Notion, the best AI tool for work. Check it out at notion.com/MacVoices. Since we're beating on Meta, why not just keep it up? Just for the fun of it, you know. Everybody needs a whipping boy, right? Why won't it let me? There it goes. Meta wants to upload every photo you have to its cloud to give you AI suggestions.
Just what I want.
You know, but I think the thing is, I mean, first of all, here we go again. It's Meta, right? But it's the way that they approach it. To quote the article, the feature spotted by TechCrunch has recently been rolling out to users. When creating a story, a prompt pops up and asks users to opt into quote-unquote cloud processing. While that sounds innocuous enough, it becomes less so once you read what Meta means by that. In its own words, it says, to create ideas for you, we'll select media from your camera roll and upload it to our cloud on an ongoing basis based on info like time, location, or themes. So
what could possibly go wrong?
I mean, I'm kind of fascinated by this, that they are so, I mean, they're masters of misdirection. Of they ask for one thing and you're giving it access to another. Marty, you're shaking your head.
People don't pay attention to this stuff. I mean, it's us in our bubble that pay attention to. Most folks are like, oh yeah, sure. Well, I have my photos. That'll be helpful. They don't think about it in terms of privacy issues. They think about it in terms of what might be an exchange in terms of advancing their use of the technology. But they don't think about the ins and outs about where their data is going and what you're actually giving permission to do.
Okay, Marty, you just said something interesting there as far as advancing the technology. I'm not sure that any of us would have a problem about 80%, 90% of the time if we thought that we were advancing the technology.
Well, I mean, advancing our use of it. So, oh, goody, you take my pictures and then you can use my pictures for being able to create authentic pictures that fit into whatever I'm writing. Yeah, go ahead, take my pictures. They're not thinking about it in terms of use, in terms of privacy, in terms of that. Well, I mean, the users aren't thinking of it that way. They're thinking of the utility. They're not thinking of the privacy issues. We see this and we know the history of the company and we know that they're monetizing our information. And this kind of stuff just sends willies up our, the back of our neck. So, but most people aren't thinking that way.
So what's the answer? Do we try to educate our friends and families and hope that they listen to us, or do we just let it roll? Or do we, I mean, God help us, do we ask for legislation to try to block some of this stuff? I'm not a fan of that, but
yeah, probably no to the third one, because I think that's beating a dead horse. I mean, it's an educational issue. It's people just don't know about how permeable their information is when they put it into a device, if they don't set up some protections.
Eric, you're one of the panel members here that works in the education system. Do you see this, the students that you interact with? Do they pay attention to this kind of thing?
Not usually. They won't regret it until about 10 years from now.
Is it even on their radar? I mean, the concerns?
It depends on what they're a student of. The ones that are students in art and producing and whatever, there's more concern there. Simply because it's mentioned a lot. Anything that lets you take and classify and combine a bunch of art and then let somebody who's not paying you spit out art that's close enough that you never go to talk to an artist, that's of concern to young artists who are trying to eat. Everybody else doesn't care. Hey, I want a picture of this and this and this and this. And if you can make it similar to topics I've had in the past or what I've posted in my timeline, oh, look, it knows what I like and it's even better. I think it's a terrible idea personally, and I would never want to do it. But it's phrased as if it's helpful.
Exactly. That's kind of the most disturbing part of it. I am a little distressed to hear, though, that it's in your perception, it's just the artists, because right now that seemed to be something that is really obvious. But how soon is it going to migrate over to the folks in finance, the folks in accounting, the folks in engineering, the folks in mathematics, and take jobs there, or take careers, or take their utility in the education that they have acquired or are in the process of acquiring. Oh, this is getting deep fast. So Barry in the chat room says, I recently read Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams. Meta seems to be more dangerous than merely being careless. And yeah, Barry, we had talked about that book a while back. And yeah, if you haven't read that, you really should go and read it. I think that'll give you pause just anytime the words Facebook or Meta come up. So let's turn to Microsoft for a minute.
Speaking of happy topics.
Well, Jeff, this one, I'm not, this is interesting. And I'm not sure it's necessarily a bad one. Microsoft says its new AI system diagnosed patients 4 times more accurately than human doctors. And obviously there's going to be some information that needs to be vetted out from this, and whether those claims are accurate. But even just the idea of helping or providing some extra diagnostic assistance to a human physician would seem to be a good thing. I'm not sure I'd necessarily want to trust it absolutely, but I don't think I would object, even if it's Microsoft, to having my doctor have a little bit of help figuring out if I have a problem. Okay, before Jeff says it, we know I have a problem, right? But that's it's a whole other show. But this seems again like one of those obvious uses of AI, and Microsoft appears to be pushing out ahead in it.
They're not pushing out ahead, but they are among the leaders in this. Microsoft is not the first company to do this. And IBM, as I recall, has been touting their ability to more accurately diagnose patients than doctors can. Where I have seen this coming into play is in various medical pharmaceutical companies using AI systems to catch the things that doctors and researchers might otherwise miss. And it's not actually offering the diagnosis, it's offering the information so that the specialists, the experts, can then look at what they might have otherwise missed that gives them crucial information on what their next step should be, either for patient care or for their research project, developing new compounds to bring to market, compounds meaning ultimately drugs. So where I've seen it, it hasn't been about, hey, we're letting a computer diagnose that you have liver disease or psoriasis or cancer or whatever. It's about having a system that more accurately pinpoints the things that doctors need to be looking at. And when done correctly and well, yeah, this is actually a really cool thing and a legit use for AI technologies.
Marty, how comfortable would you be being diagnosed?
Oh, very comfortable. And let me explain why. 2 years ago, and I think it was at MacStock, my son had given me an article that said that AI was being used for looking at scans of colorectal cancer. So if you get a CT scan, it can compare your scan to thousands of other scans that have shown where eventually polyps have developed and other precancerous cells have developed. And it can predict, based on using all of this data, where a doctor might have missed an area in your colorectal examination where there could be precancerous cells, to much more accuracy than the doctor who's looking at it and just kind of bypasses it. So this, Jeff kind of alluded to this. We've known this, that we've known the use of AI as being very helpful in finding potential areas that doctors could have looked over based on the fact that they can use, use thousands of scan data and results from those scan data to identify information like that. Recently, there's been with the Vision Pro, Eric and I and Dave talked about this on the show this last week. They talked about colorectal screening or colonoscopies with a colonoscopy probe that will, it's a combination between Apple Vision Pro and a medical company and Rush Hospital in Chicago, where they're using this instrument and the doctor is getting this, instead of having to look over on a screen to get the information, the doctor has it projected directly on their Vision Pro screen, and they can also get other data that gets put on their Vision Pro screen. And it's a new way of doing diagnostics and using AI to assist with that. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything that helps improve the medical care, and especially as we see, I don't know about you, but I hear about it constantly, that hospitals are understaffed and overwhelmed. And with people needing care, we have the issues of an aging population. We have the challenges of getting into the medical profession from a cost standpoint and just a plain old time and difficulty standpoint. So I think this is a good thing. And I hope that it turns out to be accurate, that's 4 times better than a human. Because look, at the very least, it could assist the doctor in getting the diagnostician in getting through more scans, Marty, to your point.
Yeah, I do want people in the room when I'm getting the next colonoscopy that I'm getting. Let's be clear about that. Just to sing show tunes while they're doing it. But, they could use these devices and get a lot more information out of me.
Are you selling tickets?
I don't know. I have a colleague of mine that's getting one that's on another podcast that I do, and we're headed towards our 100th show. And he suggested that we actually just do his colonoscopy as our 100th show. So
I think that's a brilliant plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it that did that on the Today Show that they?
Katie Couric.
Katie Couric, yes. Yeah. She went in and so they turned it into a feature.
Yeah, last time I had mine done, I told them that I wanted to listen to show tunes while they did it, but not Cats, because Cats sucks.
That's fair.
That's fair.
And they complied.
Okay.
Now I'm just
you
picturing
were
a
awake
doctor.
for it?
Yeah, most of the time. Well, yeah, most of it, up to the point where they started singing show tunes.
You know, I got to admit that if you remember the drug that actually killed Michael Jackson was called propofol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great drug. It is absolutely.
Yeah. My
Just
wife
don't
had
abuse it.
broken her
Yeah.
wrist, and the doctor had to reset it. And he's like, okay, it's time for Michael Jackson drug.
Yeah, I've had 3 of those procedures we were just talking about, and each time they put me under propofol, and yeah, it's night.
Okay, Webb, since you went here, we'll just go the rest of the way. I mean, is it because it acts so fast it knocks you out? Is it because
And you don't. The best way I could describe it is that when you come out of it, you don't have the hangover.
Mhm.
That's how I would describe it. So now I can't drive home, when after the procedure, but
Oh, yeah.
you can't do that because any general anesthesia. But yeah, it's and I can give you a diagnosis on oxycodone too if you want. So
I had a medical procedure. Was it earlier? Yeah, I guess it was earlier this year. And I have to admit, I did not ask them what they knocked me out with. I should have. So maybe I've had it and didn't know it. Jeff?
Jeff is biting.
Do you really want me to share that? All right, fine. You
No.
asked for it.
Okay.
So, Marty, here's the image I have. You go in for your colonoscopy. Doctor's putting on those latex gloves. Snap, snap. And looks over at you. Anything you can do, I can do better. And I can do anything better than you. And then the AI system next to him goes, no, you can't, doctor. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. And that's what you go under to.
Okay.
I just want to point out,
what musical was that from, Jeff? Do you know it?
Let's see. Anything you can do, I can do better. That's from, crap. I'm totally drawing a blank on the title.
It's composed by Irving Berlin in the 1946 Broadway musical, Annie, Get Your Gun.
Annie, Get Your Gun. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
I was picturing her there in the right costume. I just could not remember the name.
I hate musicals.
Ethel Merman was in the original Broadway cast.
Even better.
I have yet to experience anything in daily life where I walk into a situation and everyone breaks out into song.
It happens all the
You have
time.
not spent enough time with me.
Next show.
Next show.
That's our next show.
Oh boy. Sorry, I said it.
better yet, an AI generated musical for MacVoices Lives.
MacVoices, the musical.
I've got 5 thumbs and 3 feet. I'm an AI musical.
Last article.
Hey, what are you doing next week?
Apparently, my song and dance stage show.
You keep it up. You keep it up. I'm going to ask Mike Potter to give you a special slot, Jeff.
I don't know if that's a scheduling thing or a euphemism. Either way, it could be interesting.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Notion, the best AI tool for work. Check it out at notion.com/MacVoices. Notion AI is all-in-one AI, powered by your work and all in one place. It automatically captures meeting notes, instantly finds the exact content you need, drafts detailed documents for you, and lets you chat with the best AI models. Notion AI just became twice as powerful for teams, making it the best AI for work. Getting AI into your workflow can be a challenge, and that's why Notion is the way to go. Everything in one place, so no jumping in and out of apps, just a workspace with powerful AI integration. Capturing meeting notes is a favorite of mine since it works across Teams, Zoom, or even system audio, takes better notes than I do, and can search, organize, and even suggest action items for me. I can be more present in the meetings and still have the notes I need. From those notes, I can draft documents, perform AI-powered queries, and more. And that's just the beginning. Now it's your turn. Check out Notion, the best AI for work, right now at notion.com/MacVoices. That's all lowercase, notion.com/MacVoices, to try the powerful all-in-one Notion AI today. When you use my link, you're supporting MacVoices. Notion.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Notion for supporting MacVoices.
Last one, and I took a little heat in our MacVoices Slack about putting this in. Windows is getting rid of the blue screen of death after 40 years.
Why not?
And so they're going to now make it the black screen of death error message instead. That allegedly will.
Yeah,
Sorry,
error
Marty.
message says error message says welcome to Teams.
Probably so. Probably so. I mean, so when I first saw this, allegedly the new message will be a bit more useful than the blue screen of death, which is completely useless. My first thought was, after 40 years, it took you this long to figure out that people need more information about your crashes. Second thought was, so build an operating system that doesn't crash as often or at all. What a concept.
Yep.
All right, not to support Microsoft or be the Microsoft defender. However, when you're building an operating system that needs to support such a wide range of hardware and have the flexibility to be able to take in so many different drivers to support all the stuff, I mean, good luck being able to make it completely rock solid. I mean, Apple is at an advantage here because they control the hardware and the software. So it's easier for Apple to write with all of their code, and that's not to diminish how much hard work they put into it. But for Microsoft, holy crap, they have to come up with the lowest common denominator and write for that, but then also keep it open and flexible enough so that you can have incredibly complex systems as well. And so, I mean, good luck with that.
Jeff, yeah, I mean, look, we can do all the jokes we want, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. It would be useful, and we haven't seen, at least I haven't experienced, nor do I intend to anytime soon, the black screen of death. But it would be useful if they could give you a little more information about what went wrong. And look, that's true for Apple kernel panics as well. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. I'm not even sure you can have one with the M series chips, but
I've had a kernel panic. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if it was on this machine. But it wasn't as obvious. Last time I had a kernel panic, it wasn't as obvious that's what was happening.
Yeah. So I think it's a place that everybody could do better. They could give us more, instead of error number 735.2, tell us in some semblance of English what it is that we should be looking for.
But I just had a blue screen of death today, so for helping somebody. So, Microsoft and their infinite wisdom, let's scan that QR code to find out more about this error. And then you go to that site and it's nonsense. And the error code in there. Okay, what the heck's this error code? You search that error code and it's all over the place. You know, the one it was like a driver issue or whatever it was a crash. You know, it just got terminology that just confused the heck out of everybody.
The information you're looking for doesn't exist. You know, once a system gets to that point, it's getting there because, you know, there's probably a comment in the code that says this should never happen.
Yeah.
Blame
Windows.
I am not kidding.
No, I'm with you.
You know, I mean, the fact that it's able to display a screen, it means that there's, you know, it's basically somebody's throwing up their arms, and, you know, remember, it used to be machines would just like splat, you know, random garbage on the screen. So at least, you know, there's a message that's saying something is wrong. But, you know, it's kind of like saying, well, don't make cars with seatbelts, just make cars that don't crash. You need to have something for when everything goes wrong and, you know, we're in an unrecoverable situation, so we've got to do something. So, you know, put up a message saying it's unrecoverable. We don't know why. But I guarantee you, if the designers of Windows were sitting there, they would not be able to go like, "Oh yeah, of course, that's why that happened." No.
Brian.
I'll say at least I appreciate the efficiency of using the same letters. Blue screen of death, you know, BSOD, black screen of death, BSOD. So at least that's efficient.
Okay, Jeff?
I can't believe you're letting me say stuff like this. Okay, here's my absolutely crazy take. You have brand recognition with the blue screen of death. Keep your blue screen of death. Just give people information that's more useful on some level. And Jim, you're absolutely right. There's at some point it's like we don't know what's going on, but it went bad. And that's not really useful. But if you could give
that kind
people
of screen is displayed at the point where the code is like, if we allowed the code to continue to run, it might do something like erase data or, you know, actually do something really damaging, right?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So the code is just like, yeah, we better stop now before, you know, something
before it gets even worse.
Gets even worse. So it's not about trying to diagnose or explain or it's just like a seatbelt. It's like, just stop.
But Jim, I'm looking at the screenshot in the article, the blue screen of death screenshot. I mean, now that makes perfect sense. And honestly, I've never heard the blue screen of death explained that way before in all this time. So that makes perfect sense. Why not put that on the screen and say, you know, instead of we ran into a problem that it couldn't handle and now needs to restart, you know, do a little marketing and say, you know, yes, we ran into a problem that it couldn't handle and we're protecting your data so nothing bad happens to it or something along those lines. Why wouldn't you do that and make us feel a little better about it instead of just, you know, trying to pat us on the head and say, just wait around, we'll restart?
I don't know. You know, I do know that, you know, stuff like that goes through layers and layers of layers. At a company, specifically, I've seen a thing at Microsoft about what it takes to, you know, get the shape of a button changed. And, you know, it's like 17 layers of committees. So, blue screen of death is what you get when you design something by a committee.
Yeah. Good point.
It's also how you get a camel.
Yeah.
I just remember the days when you could make a wallpaper out of the blue screen of death, or they even had blue screen of death screensavers, and you could load it on your colleague's computer when they were away from the computer and think that they would come back and you'd be pimping them out, basically.
I do it all the time. Change the background.
This is the kind of guests we have here on MacVoices. Yes, they confess to evil deeds.
No, I've witnessed it many times.
Well, I thought you said you participated. I've witnessed it.
I've done it once.
Did you, Dave? Did you get called on? Did you get called on tech calls for that? I've got the blue screen of death only to find out that somebody's put the wallpaper on it.
No, I didn't get a call.
Oh, okay.
I think they figured it out once they saw the
challenge
icons were on top
accepted.
of it. Yeah.
So that's all we have time for tonight, and that works out well because that's all I have for tonight. So let's go around the room and find out who's here or who was here and where you can find them. I'm still time zone challenged. Dave Ginsburg, thank you for being here as always. Where can folks connect with you?
Thanks for having me, Chuck. As always, you can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. YouTube channel is youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm on Vision Profiles podcast on Monday nights with Eric and Marty. Here on Tuesdays, and we have our show on Thursdays for In Touch with iOS, and then sometimes on the Mac show on Fridays. And you can find me on social media at DaveG65, most places, Mastodon and Blue Sky, where I'm at a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, great to have you as always. Where can folks find you?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, as always, for having me. Best place to reach me is my website, brian8944.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Eric Bolden, when you're not negotiating with Kentucky Fried, Raising Cane, or Slim Chickens, where can folks find you?
I can be found on Mastodon at Bolden at mas.to. Otherwise, getting all my OSs in, Vision OS on Mondays with Vision Profiles, Mac OS Tuesdays with MacVoices, and iOS on Thursdays with In Touch with iOS.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Next week, I want to know what brand of chicken that is.
Tasty. It's a tasty brand of chicken.
Yeah. Marty, since you're the tasty guy, where can folks connect with you?
You can connect with me at my website, thepodtalk.net, or Jencius, Jencius at mastodon.social. Vision Profiles on Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, live streamed with Dave and Eric and Daniel and other people that will drop in the future. Also doing Pro Notes, which is a 5 to 10 minute drop of current news throughout the week, generally Wednesday mornings, Friday mornings, and Monday morning, of stuff we don't want to let go before and wait for the show, but we talk more in depth about the Pro Notes on the show. So that's kind of where my efforts are going right now. Tuesday nights here, gratefully, with Chuck on MacVoices. Thursday nights with Dave on In Touch with iOS, occasionally on the Mac show.
Thank you, Marty. Good to have you as always.
Thanks.
Jeff Gamet, it is great to have you back. I love that fact. I hope you can get caught up with all the news soon, along with the rest of your life. But until then, where can folks find you?
Well, when I'm not trying to get caught up on everything, on social media, I'm Jay Gamet, and I'm active right now on Mastodon, PixelFed, and Blue Sky. And when I say I'm active, I know I've been incredibly quiet for a few months, and that will change now that I actually have a little bit of time coming back in my life. Then for shows, it's been a while. Let's see. Can I get everything? Tuesdays here with you for MacVoices Live. Thursdays with Dave for In Touch with iOS. On the British Tech Network, The Big Show on Thursdays, The Mac Show on Fridays. Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch. Holy crap, I think I did it.
You did.
Sounds good to me.
You
Go
good,
me.
Brian Chaffin?
Yeah.
You said that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he said it. Yeah, he's back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle.
Go me.
Speaking of the saddle, Webb Bixby. I don't know where that came from.
I've seen that sticker.
Yes. Webb, thank you for being here as always. You and the Quilt Queen's creation. Where can folks find you?
You know what? I'm still sticking with Blue Sky just because I like the name. So Webb Bixby at Blue Sky, WEBBIXBY.
Great. Thanks, Webb. Good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Jim Rea. Jim, thanks as always for your wisdom as well. Where can folks find you?
Well, I would suggest that you log onto this Zoom, press the AI companion button, and type "Who is Jim Rea?" It says that I frequently participate in discussions and podcasts focused on technology trends. So
Amazing.
Amazing.
If that doesn't work for you, you can go to Mastodon and look up Provue Jim, PROVUE JIM at techhub.social. Oh,
Excellent.
and maybe you might be able to find me on Summerfest. I got an email today that's happening. The promotion that different indie software companies do.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually agreed to it yet. So maybe I won't be on it, but probably will. So I'm not sure what the URL is, though. I think it's usually Artisanal Software Fest. But I don't know what's up there so far because I haven't even replied to Mark yet.
No, it's there. Artisanal Software, artisanalsoftwarefestival.com, Summerfest 2025.
But
So-
I'm not listed.
You
So there you go.
better get to it.
Yeah.
Better get to it.
Interesting.
So yeah, but there
Okay.
are a number of really great programs here. So by all means, please check it out, folks. You won't be sorry. This is Mac Voices Live. We do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We'd love to have you in the chat room. We had Barry tonight. We had Cindy was there. Paul checked in. I could be saying your name next time around if you'll just come and throw a couple comments in and laugh along with us as well as learn along with us. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.